If you've followed me for a while, you know that I absolutely love infrared saunas, right? But what if you don't have an infrared sauna available to you? Or what if there's no room in your apartment for a sauna? Well, I have the perfect solution for you. Infrared sauna mat. So you can just come home and while you're watching Netflix, you can just turn it on and have access to an infrared sauna right in the comfort of your own home. I use mine all year long, but it is especially cozy in these winter months that are coming up. So if you're interested in finding out more and getting a little discount with your infrared sauna mat, I mean, what better gift do you want to give yourself with the little detoxification that you can do every night if you want? Check out the link below to learn more. Welcome to the Sacred Medicine Podcast. My name is Margaret Romero. I'm a Columbia-trained functional medicine nurse practitioner, and here I uncover the truth behind chronic illness so that you can finally heal. I'm a women's health and hormone expert and love empowering women to finally live their life fully and powerfully through optimal health. This is the Sacred Medicine Podcast. Welcome back to another week of the Sacred Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Margaret Romero, and this week we've got Cassandra Bodzak. She has been so gracious to give us 4 meditations along with her interview will be today. Cassandra is a repeat guest, and she just came out with an amazing book called Manifesting Through Meditation, 100 Guided Practices to Harness the Power of Your Thoughts and Create the Life You Want. And so I have this book, and let me tell you, I friggin' love it. I have been doing it every single morning. I'm not kidding. And she is actually going to be giving us 2 more meditations this week. So a total of 4. They're only 10 minutes long. So if you have not listened yet, you have to go back, listen to Monday and Tuesday's episodes. And now we've got 2 more, Thursday and Friday of this week. 10 minutes long. They're each different. They're each meant for something different. And so I hope you enjoy those. So Cassandra is back and we are talking all about her book, but she also shares some other things that can kind of help with manifestation. And one of them is something called the Solfeggio. It's like this particular type of music. You can easily find it on like YouTube. And they are meant, the sounds of it sort of are very healing and can actually create some miracles. So take a listen. There's a bunch of different ones. And so we talk about that and why that works, because I've always wondered it. I've always heard of them and I wondered, and I've definitely listened to them. And so I wanted her take, and she definitely loves them as well. And so we're talking about how and why manifesting your desires can easily be done through meditation. And so I challenge you guys, if you get her book, you can even just get it on Kindle. Why don't you focus on one thing that you really desire and do the meditations for a full month? This is what I am doing. So, and there's so many, and there's ones that are actually meant to sort of release any blocks that you may have to getting that thing that you really want. And so you have to read through the book because it's kind of structured in a way that helps you if you're like, well, I really want a BMW convertible car, but I don't think I can get that. That's a block. And so there are meditations to release those blocks. It's a really amazing, amazing book. So we talk all about that, the Solfeggio, and then she shares her beautiful daily and morning rituals with us. And she, because I wanted to know, I'm like, girl, you need to tell me what you do. I want to know what you do. And so she shares all of that. And I love how open she is. Cassandra is really a down to earth, like, could definitely be your bestie kind of woman, let me tell you. So without further ado, let's just get into this interview, get her book. It's amazing. And I challenge you to challenge yourself to do meditations for a month or forever, once a day, make a little time for it. And there are ones in here in the book that are super, super short. So you can do them. You don't have to be meditating for 30 minutes. You can if you want, but there are ones that are very short. And the ones that she recorded for us, the 4 this week, are 10 minutes. So definitely doable. You have 10 minutes. You do. You really do. All right, on to the show. All right, this week we have a return guest. Cassandra Bodzak is back, and she just came out with a book, Manifesting Through Meditation, 100 Guided Practices to Harness the Power of Your Thoughts and Create the Life You Want. Cassandra, thanks so much for being here, and congrats.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So I've been looking through this book and just perusing every single page. And I think that meditation in general is just hard for people who are so busy. They're doing things. They're just I don't even have time. I have kids in the morning. I've got to get them ready. I work. I'm just rushing out the door. So tell us, I would love to know how more people can start doing, just practicing meditation. And then we'll get into the juicy part of being able to manifest stuff through meditation. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I think that a lot of people struggle to just get going with it, which was a big part of why I wanted to write this book, because I think people underestimate how powerful meditation is.
Yes.
And also a lot of people discount it if they feel like they're quote unquote not good at it, thinking that it's not actually going to be as effective or helpful,
Sure.
Which is not true. But so first off, the first 10 meditations in the book, I specifically designed for those kinds of people who aren't regular meditators, who are kind of just diving in. And all of them are these really accessible but powerful meditations that you can do in 5 minutes. And so one of the things I would advise is, if this is something you're interested in, and I will get into how much it can really benefit and transform your life. So I think you will be interested in it by the end of this podcast. Even starting with those 5 minutes can be really powerful. So just taking those 5 minutes, and it can be, one of the things I recommend is doing it as soon as you wake up. Who doesn't want an excuse to be in bed for an extra 5 minutes?
Right.
Do it, sit up against the back of your bed, pull your covers up, keep yourself cozy, and do it for 5 minutes before you get out of bed. It's actually a really beautiful, I find it to be a really beautiful transition practice from that space in which you wake up and you're kind of groggy and, debating on how early you wake up.
Right.
May or may not be in the mood to wake up.
Right.
And taking those 5 minutes where you really gently bring yourself into the day. I think meditation can be a real gift with that. And then
I love it.
Also really seeing it as a practice that centers you for the day. Don't, every meditation in the book, I really made it. And it was funny because this was one of the things that I debated with my publisher, is there's a range of time you can do every meditation. And they were like, oh, well, aren't certain meditations have to be this length, or other meditations have to be this length? And I said, no, I don't want to do that, because I think, if you know the intention of the meditation and the different things, let's say you're just connecting to your heart meditation, you can connect to your heart for 20 minutes. You can connect to your heart for 5 minutes,
Right.
And I think it's important. Obviously, connecting to your heart for 20 minutes is amazing, but also, connecting to your heart for 5 minutes, also amazing. And if that's the difference between you doing it or not, I will take the 5.
All right. So that's amazing. So we can make this so simple. 5 minutes in the morning, sit up. What if what if someone's like so groggy and then they just end up falling back to sleep? Like they don't end up like making like actually doing a meditation. They're actually falling back asleep. Does that count or not count?
It depends on how long you go, I guess, before you fall back to sleep. I would say to try to sit up in bed, just because that will help you not fall back to sleep. And my meditation teacher back in the day, she used to always say, if you fall asleep during your meditation, it's because your body needed to sleep more.
Okay. Okay.
And so you can just honor that that's what your body needed. And especially if you're listening to a guided meditation, you're still getting so much of that in your subconscious as well if you happen to fall asleep that day. So I wouldn't beat yourself up about it. It's totally fine. And hopefully, over time you find little ways to not fall asleep. You'll get into a really deep, relaxed state, and meditation can be even more restorative than sleep. But allowing yourself to not fully fall asleep will give you maximal benefits.
Amazing. Okay. So one of the things I noticed in one of your meditations was about the 528 hertz. Can we talk a little bit about this? Because I definitely have seen this and listened to it on YouTube, but I wasn't sure, the real 411 behind it.
Yeah, so 528 hertz is the solfeggio frequency for love and miracles, for DNA repair. It's a really powerful frequency. There's a bunch of different solfeggio frequencies, and what these are ancient sounds, and what they do is they unlock different things in our unconscious. And so 528 hertz is the frequency of love. And back as far as ancient Egypt, Gregorian chants, a lot of different ancient rituals and practices utilized the solfeggio frequencies, whether it was using them through sound bowls or different things, chanting. And so you can find the binaural beats version of these all over the internet, or on iTunes, wherever you get your music. And what happens is it's so regenerative and it's so powerful. I recommend to my clients all the time, if you're having a really anxious day or you're having a really frustrating day, putting that 528 hertz on in the background is so powerful in how it shifts you. And it's also a really great practice. That's why I put the meditation in there, because it's a great, easy meditative practice. So you can find 528 hertz, like I said, on YouTube or iTunes or wherever you want to find it, play it and just lay or sit and focus on your breathing to it. And you will notice the shift in your energy. It's really powerful.
Oh, that's amazing. There's definitely been times when I have used it like around the bedtime, and just to kind of like bring me down from a long, stressful day. I really loved it. So I just wanted your take on what exactly it did. So I love that it regenerates. And you also mentioned that it also heals.
Yeah, it's a very healing frequency. So it's considered to be able to repair your DNA.
That's amazing.
And, right? Why not? Why not listen to that all the time, right?
Exactly. There's definitely been studies that show that music it's not only soothing, but it does also heal. And so I love that. And I think more people should just listen to that or even just have it in the background.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there are so many, I do this a lot when I'm just working at my computer during the day. There are so many different versions. So there's different solfeggio frequencies, and each solfeggio frequency has different, has like a kind of a different energy,
Okay.
or a different assignment, so to speak.
Okay.
528 hertz is my favorite, obviously, I think, because it's the love and miracle and DNA repair frequency, but there's all different ones. And so just looking up a couple on YouTube and just having that in the background while you're doing your emails or, putting in your expense reports together is something
Right.
so joyful.
Exactly. That's perfect. All right. So now let's get to the juicy part. So how can someone use meditation to actually manifest things?
Yeah. So here is where it gets really exciting. So meditation is the foundation for manifestation. It really, and I think the number one reason people who are trying to manifest and struggle is because they don't have a regular meditation practice and they're not utilizing it for their manifestations. Because in the book, I talk about my 4 steps to manifest through meditation. And the first one is the most important, and it's the one that we really need meditation for. I mean, we need all of them, but number 1 is the one I think most people forget that meditation assists with, and that is the remembrance of who we truly are. Because if we want to create, we need to get to the energy within ourselves that creates, right? We need to get back down to that divine, to that essence, to the part of us that is limitless, that is infinite, that most of us humans are not in touch with during our days so much, right?
Right.
That
Totally.
we get caught up in work, we get caught up in the news, we just get caught up in life. And if we're not taking that conscious daily time to sit in our meditation and even doing something as simple as that heart centering one, and there's a ton, I have 10 meditations in the book that are simply to help you get into that space where you remember your divine essence, where you connect to your soul, where you connect to that part of you that's infinite potential. And that's the place that we create anything from. And so if you're trying to manifest, but you're skipping that step, then it's like you're trying to create a sculpture, but you're not using the clay, right? That's the clay, or whatever you want to call it. That's the material in which we create with. And then the second step of that I also think meditation is really powerful for is getting clear on our soul's desires and the essence of those desires. Because once again, we walk around the world and it's so easy to, look on Instagram or look on Facebook or look at your neighbor or see a magazine or watch a TV ad and have these kind of false desires and have a desire that is just like, oh, well, she has that or that looks cool, so maybe I want that. And meditation gives us the opportunity, and we can want whatever we want, of course, but meditation gives us that opportunity to once again connect to that heart space, connect to our soul, connect to the divine within us, and ask ourselves, what are our true desires? What do we truly want just for ourselves? What did our soul come here to experience? Because I firmly believe that the desires that we have are not an accident. The things that we deeply want in our soul are things that our soul came here to experience, are things that our soul came here to enjoy the journey of manifesting. And so when we get into that space, we get really clear not only on what it is we want to manifest, but what is the actual essence of it? Is it that I want to specifically go to Greece, which it absolutely could be, or is it that I'm really ready to have more adventure and exploration in my life, right?
Right.
And again, it could be just that my soul wants to return to Greece. But I think it's a really beautiful thing to just take that time and really sit into it and be like, wow, yeah, there's something in Greece for me and I really want to go. And that's part of, it's just a silly example that came to the top of my head, or it could be like, well, why I actually just like the idea of Greece, and why I like it is because my soul is craving more freedom, more travel, more exploration, and I would be just as happy going to Croatia.
Right.
And so we get that refinement, which helps us manifest through meditation when we get quiet and we go within and we really sit with ourselves and say, okay, what is the real desire here? And then the third step of manifesting through meditation is releasing all of the blocks and all of the wounds and all of the negative beliefs that we have that tell us that we can't do it, that all of the excuses. So I always tell people to think of if I was to sit down with you and have a cup of tea and say, oh, great, Margaret, I hear you want to manifest this. Why don't you already have that in your life?
Right.
And whatever you would tell me, whatever you would, whatever defense you would give me as to why you haven't already manifested that is a great place to start around your limiting beliefs and the wounds and the evidence that you've collected that's blocking that manifestation. And that's so powerful because the good news is that we're naturally magnetic. We're meant to attract the things that we desire. And so if we're not magnetizing a thing that we desire, it's simply because there is a block in our field.
Right.
And that's the good news, because we can control that. We can clear that. We can work on that. And through meditation, and again, there's 10 different meditations for connecting to your desire, and then 10 different ones for clearing different blocks and childhood wounds and all different things, being able to go in there. And the importance of doing that work in meditation or in a subconscious state is that those things insidiously live in our subconscious.
Right.
And the program that's playing out is so much deeper than what appears on the surface. It's like an iceberg, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we just kind of, put an affirmation over that and say, I was born to be rich. But we have like years of programming that says it's hard to make money and people in my family aren't rich and all these different things. It's kind of like we're putting like nice icing on a really bad cake.
Right.
And so we need to go in there and we need to really loose ourselves from those and do that work. And again, going into the meditative space, we can get there and we can see, okay, where did this come from? Why is this pattern playing out? And how can I dislodge it from my energy field? And then finally, the fourth step is quantum embodiment. And that's when we step into the us that would already have it. We embody the energy and the frequency and the day-to-day habits and the thoughts and all of those things of the version of us that already has everything that we're manifesting, which just makes us a greater magnet for it to already come, because so much of what we're actually manifesting when we want something is the version of ourselves that it would unlock for us to have it.
Well, you know what? I love that you have 10, because I think that we all carry blocks. I mean, we all have these beliefs. And the fact that you have 10 meditations that really focus on that, that's amazing. Now, I mean, what if, what if someone's got just a ton of blocks about, I don't know, finding a partner or something like that, like, well, it hasn't happened yet, or I don't know where all the good guys are, or, a million beliefs that we all tend to have, or some of us tend to have around love and things like that. So how long, so let's say they get your book and they're like, okay, you know what? I really want a new job, let's just say, or a new home. And I really want like the perfect one. And they decide to do the meditations. Like, are you like, look, do like 30 days, really, really do this? Or is this just like a lifetime thing? Is this like you'll be doing this for a lifetime? Like meditating, I feel is a lifetime thing. But
yeah,
if somebody wanted a particular thing, they start, how long would you say, like, have you had other people who have said, "Oh my God, I've done this for I don't know how long and I got it. I actually got the job that I wanted or the house came through."
Oh yeah. I mean, the book just came out, but I've worked with women one-on-one using the same tools and worked with women in my Divinely Design Your Life using the same tools. And we've had multiple people manifest their romantic partners. We've had people manifest dream jobs.
Amazing.
Had people manifest houses, trips, money, you name it. So it definitely works. I would say everybody's timeline is going to be different, and so much of the timeline, and nobody's going to want to hear this, but I'm going to be honest. So much of the timeline is how much you show up for it.
Right.
And how much you work it. Are you diligently working? You know, when someone's working with me, and that's the other thing I will say, if you're someone that feels like you have a lot of blocks around something, like a romantic partner or money or whatever it is, right, that you want to manifest, I do think that it's working with someone one-on-one that's going to help you move through it is very, very helpful, and will expedite the process, I think, enormously. If you don't personally, and this is like, I always tell my clients, like, know thyself and rig thyself accordingly. We're all different. So there's going to be some people listening to this that will get this book and do it diligently. Right. And so if you do it diligently and you go through the 4 different steps, and you're clearing your blocks around your thing, I think it's very possible for you to manifest something really epic in 30 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
Sorry, what?
That's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. But I would say that totally depends on your commitment to doing the work.
Exactly.
So when I'm manifesting something, I'm all hands on deck for it. And so what that looks like is I'm probably meditating twice a day. I'm really looking at my blocks. And if you feel like you have a lot of blocks, I would say just start. That's why I always give that question. Like, really just think to yourself, whether it's me or it's Margaret or it's a girlfriend of yours that was sitting down with you and saying, "Hey, love, why don't you have that guy yet? Or why hasn't that house come through? Or why don't you have that job?" Or whatever it is. I know it seems kind of like an obnoxious thing to ask, but it's important to think about, what would I say back to that? What would be my first excuse, right? So for instance, let's say with the guy thing, the first thing you say in that moment is, "Well, there's just not a lot of good guys left." Right?
Right.
And so I would say, perfect. Let's start there, right? Because that's the first thing you say is the strongest block you have. And so instead of trying to overwhelm yourself by maybe the 20 different blocks you have, start there and make that your mission. Let's say for the next week, make it your mission to go through and do whichever ones of the 10 releasing meditations really resonate with you, and releasing that block. There's also in the beginning of the book, and also in the book bonuses, I have like an extended part where I go through some of the other tools I use to clear. And so go through and then, write your list, write out your evidence for that block, write what you want to believe, and start bringing that into your day. Just start noticing how, if you have a desire that you really want to manifest, what happens is we end up thinking about it throughout the day. And so when we think about it, what often will happen is that number one block of ours will think about it, right? Like simultaneously. So every time you think, "Oh, I can't wait to like have my romantic partner," you'll simultaneously think, "Oh, but there's just no good guys left," or whatever, right? And so what we can start doing immediately is when you're doing the work, you're doing the meditations to kind of clear this block. Simultaneously through the day, what you'll do is when that comes up in your head, you'll be like, that's not true. There's plenty of good men. And actually, I don't need plenty of men. I just need one really good one for me.
Right.
And so my one really good one is out there and is looking for me. And so you start shifting your subconscious with it. And so when we're in that space, when we're really, really ready, I remember when I got really, really ready to call in my partner, it took me 2 weeks, but it took me 2 weeks because I was really, really ready and I was really, really over my own bullshit. I wasn't going to defend any of my negative beliefs anymore,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really amazing how fast things can manifest when you're in that level of commitment to it and you're really willing to do the work. So get excited if there's something that you really want and you want to get this book and commit to it for 30 days. I think you'd be pretty astounded at what you can do in 30 days or less if you have that level of commitment to the work.
I love it. And I know that you're engaged now to the same person that you met 2 weeks after you started meditating, right? So congratulations.
Thanks.
So how often were you also doing it, like twice a day you were meditating?
I mean, I've meditated twice a day, sometimes more than that, for over a decade now.
Right.
So, but it was only, that's when I was manifesting that. That's when I got really clear at what my blocks were, what patterns were preventing me from fully opening up to that.
Right.
And so that was more of that process of being able to really look at that and really look at, we all have blocks. We all have blocks to so many different things in our life.
So many.
And it's never pleasant to look at them, but it's really powerful because then you see it and, you look at them and I think it's important to look at them with love, right? Have compassion for yourself. You have these beliefs for a reason, and most of them came up to keep you safe in some way. And so having compassion and looking at that part of you, I remember looking at that part of me. And one of my big things was that I had a self-sabotaging pattern of dating the wrong guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that when I was able to look at that, I was able to stop myself. And I was able to, and when I first met my now fiance, there was a couple other guys that I had been dating that were of that old type.
Right.
And I knew that I had really done my work when I was able to look at them and say, no, that's not me anymore. I'm not going down that path.
I love it. Yeah, when you can recognize it.
Yeah, it's like you hear that belief, or you feel that old tendency that hasn't worked for you in the past. And that's when, through the meditation, I like to say that our meditation gives us this miracle moment. And what happens is when you have a regular meditation practice, and especially when that meditation practice is focused on manifesting a specific thing, but in general, I think it works when you have just a practice at all. You have this like miracle moment, which is, I joke around, it's like a video game moment. My little brother used to play video games, and it would be like you would venture into like the forest, right? And then, the screen would freeze, and you'd have two options that would emerge. And one would say, like, go fight the dragon. And the other one would be like, go into the enchanted garden.
Right.
And you'd have that option in that moment to say, okay, do I want to fight the dragon, or do I want to go to the enchanted garden? And I think our meditation practice gives us that gift in life, right? where you have that, let's say your friend invites you to a small dinner gathering, right? And you have that moment, and you see the two choices emerge, and you're like, well, I could just say no again and, stay in, or I could go to the dinner gathering and see if maybe there's going to be someone interesting I meet there. Or you have that moment where you feel that thought coming of like, oh, it doesn't matter because there's no good men anyway. And again, you have that pause and you're like, am I going to allow the thought of there's no good men am I going to go down the rabbit hole and the actions that would bring me in? Or am I going to choose this new thought that I want to have, that's my one amazing man is out there and ready for me? And okay, if I choose that second option, then what's going to unlock for me, right? We have that, we get that grace of that moment to choose again and choose differently when we have our meditation practice.
Great. I love this. I really do. You've definitely inspired me. There's definitely some big desires I have. So I'm definitely going to be doing the 30-day or plus, 34, 60, not, whatever it is,
Exactly. Well, exactly like you said, it's like we're forever manifesting, even when you manifest whatever the next thing on your list to manifest is, our whole life is manifesting, right? We're constantly divinely designing our life. And that's the joy and the fun of this incarnation. And so we're always on a manifestation journey. And my hope is that the book and my tools help make it fun for people. So it doesn't feel like, oh, this is this thing I don't have that I have to try to get. No, like this is like the magic and the play that we get to be engaged in during this lifetime, to like see what we get to bring into our experience.
Right. And so I would love to know, what does your daily sort of practices, whether it's meditation or prayer or affirmations, like I'm so curious to know what you do on a daily basis.
Yes. So I definitely meditate at least twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. Usually in the morning, like I said, I like to meditate before I even get out of bed. And then I'll meditate again between clients, usually in the afternoon sometime. And then I will meditate again before bed. And I'm constantly praying throughout the day. I really believe in, and there is a meditation for this as well in the book, connecting to your divine support squad. So I'm constantly calling in my angels and my guides and my grandma to help guide me and hold space for me throughout the day. And when I am specifically manifesting something, which I'm not always in that active space of manifesting something. Sometimes I'm just like enjoying life,
Right.
And feel filled up with everything I have. But when I am in that space where there's something new that's come in that I want to manifest, what I like to do is I like to journal about it in the morning. So I like to write out what it is I'm manifesting, and then I like to just write out whatever is coming up in my head that day around it. So just noticing, some days are good days, some days are, more challenging days, right? So some days you'll have a day where you're like, I'm feeling really good. I know it's on its way. It's coming. I'm so excited for it. And then in my meditation, either as the actual meditation, or sometimes I'll do it at the end of my meditation, I will just take that moment to really sit in. I do a lot of the meditations in this book, especially the quantum embodiment ones on a regular basis when I'm manifesting. And then if I'm having one of those days, and then I'll also say I will use my angels and my guides to help me manifest. So I will every day say, angels, guides, grandma, please help me, please help guide me towards calling this into my life, right? And, I'm open to your divine assistance and your guidance. And I'm also just open to you, like being my magical hands in the world
Mm-hmm.
and doing my bidding. And so I think that that's also a really fun part of manifesting. And then, like I said, when I'm manifesting something, I will absolutely every single day clear blocks to it.
Okay.
So I will tune in and I will say, okay, what is the biggest thing that's coming up for me today? And maybe it's like, well, I've never done it before. So how do I know that I can do it? I'm like, okay, so that's what's on my plate today. And that's when I'll do either a specific manifesting meditation for clearing blocks from the book I'll do to release it, or I'll do some tapping, or I'll do some journaling on it, but I'll do something every day to release a block to that manifestation, because I'm hardcore when I'm in
it. Amazing. So also, I'd love for you to paint a picture as to like, where in your home are you doing this? Are you walking? Do you have sort of like a little altar in your home? Or I'd love to kind of visualize the space that you're in. And are you using like things like crystals or essential oils with this? Or is it just you sitting like on your bed?
In the morning, my first meditation is just me sitting on my bed. I have for the next two meditations, I have a meditation nook in my office. So I have meditation cushions, and I have a little altar space where I will have, right now I have a bunch of citrine and selenite all over it, and I have candles there. So a lot of times when I'm manifesting, I like to have a specific candle with that intention. So I'll light it every day when I'm doing the work there. Yeah, and then I do. I have essential oils. I have rose incense that I like to light when I'm in that space, and it totally just depends. It just depends on the day. I'm not precious with it. When I have the time, I love making it like a whole thing. And doing the ritual and having the candles lit and the incense and everything going. But also, if I'm having a crazy day, I could just simply do it at my office chair,
Right.
So I go back and forth. I do have a nice little sacred space and an altar, and sometimes I'll pull a card for guidance and I'll put that up. So I do enjoy the ceremonialness of that. And also, I never let not having time to do all of that stop me from doing it. So sometimes sometimes also if I'm seeing clients all day, I'll just want to get outside during my break. So I'll go outside and I'll sit. We have like a little park area, and I'll just sit in one of the chairs there and do my meditation and do some journaling.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. When you do these meditations, are they pretty short? Would you say like 10 or 15 minutes, or are they pretty lengthy?
I like to do my meditations usually between 20 and 30. That's my preference. Like I said, I've been meditating for a while. When I have time, I love meditating for an hour. I love meditating. However, like I said, I also have a very busy, full life. So when I have, a bunch of clients and interviews and things I'm doing, sometimes my afternoon meditation will be just 10 minutes if that's all I have,
Right.
And again, I just don't let that stop me from doing it. If it's 5 minutes, if that's all I have because I need to make myself, lunch or something before the next client, then I take the 5 minutes, but I like to do it 20 to 30 most often when I have that opportunity.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Oh gosh, this was such a great conversation. I mean, you've really inspired me, honestly. And
Yay!
and there's definitely like two big desires I have right now. And I actually have been thinking recently, well, how do I like, vibrate differently, like just to draw it to me. And so I think this is going to be perfect.
So, well, perfect. Look, you attracted this book, and and I know you're so powerful, Margaret. So I'm sure it can come even faster than you imagine. And I love that. That's really was my prayer with writing this book, was to be able to like demystify and break down manifestation so that anyone could, pick up this book and go through the meditations and find ones that they resonate with and just get on their manifesting journey,
Yes, yes. Was there any last things before we sort of wrap up for today?
I would just say to anyone out there listening that has a big desire in their heart and doesn't know how they're going to make it happen, to just once again trust that you have that desire in your heart for a reason. And part of your experience here is to figure out how to manifest it. And it's not an accident that you were listening to this podcast, and it's not an accident that you're hearing these tools. Your desires want you. So go get them.
That's beautiful. And so how can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram or Facebook at Cassandra Bodzak. You can find me on YouTube, Cassandra Bodzak TV. You can find all of the book bonuses that I mentioned at cassandrabodzak.com/manifesting. So when you order the book, and I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere for you guys to order the book, I'm giving 5 free guided meditations. So if that's helpful for you to get started on your journey, there's a whole manifesting masterclass on there that's over an hour of like really deep diving into all of the steps for manifesting. And there's an extended part 1 that I was telling you about that has some more of those like clearing exercises in it. So definitely check that out.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I love that. Okay. I'll include all of that info in the show notes. Cassandra, thank you so much. Thank you for coming out with this book. You've definitely inspired me, and I'm sure you're just inspiring so many people with this book. It's amazing. Just so more people could be, connected to themselves and being able to manifest things that they've really longed for and wanted for such a long time.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I really appreciate you having me on and having this conversation with me.
Oh, thank you. All right. So I'd love to know how many of you will be actually doing a meditation for 30 days straight. I have started. I'm probably on about, by the time I got my book, so probably 2.5 weeks I'm in. So it's really calming. I do it in the morning. I do it before I start my day. I also already have a morning ritual, so I just add that onto it and it's perfect. So if you want to learn more, head on over to margaretromero.com/episode 198. And there you will find all Cassandra's links to Instagram, her book, and all of that. All right. I'll talk to you all next week. Bye for now.